Search Assistant found an artificial turf retailer that you can buy with $375,000 down and net $1 million a year after making your loan payments. Now let's assume you use a 10-year, 11.5% interest, 5% down SBA loan to buy this $7.5 million business that's advertising $2.3 million in annual cash flow. So first thing we note about this business is that it's above the $5 million threshold for the SBA loan. It means you'd have to use a lender that's willing to do what's called a pari passu loan, which means that they would do a $2.5 million loan on top of the $5 million SBA loan. There are a few lenders out there that'll do that. They do have tighter lending standards on those deals. Your debt service coverage ratio needs to be about 1.65, meaning that the cash generated by the business can cover 165% of the loan payment. They're also likely going to require the 5% down. I doubt you're going to get a 2.5% down deal. So now this business has been around since 2014. And they say about 75% of their sales come in the store just through walk-through traffic, and the other 25% are orders that are shipped to other locations. Now, looking at this business, there's a few things that jump out at me. One, that they only have 2 employees, and it's great that they're generating $6.5 million in sales from just 2 employees, but it doesn't sound like you're buying much of a business, and it's also likely that a lot of the sales are generated by the seller or multiple sellers, or maybe multiple sellers that are leaving. So what are you really buying here? You may be able to get away with a 2-employee business and say the $200,000 price point, but by the time we're paying $7.5 million for a business, there needs to be a real infrastructure in place. You also need to purchase the $600,000 of inventory. I included that in my numbers at the top, and so I just added it to the asking price to come up with the total deal price. But generally, when you look at listings, just remember that inventory is separate from the purchase price. So especially in businesses like this where there's lots of inventory, you're going to need to buy that in addition to paying for the business. Now, the listing, they say the current owner owns the real estate. They say they'll sell it to you for $3 million or rent it to you for $14,000 per month. Monthly mortgage payment on that $3 million building would be $21,000 per month. So I would definitely go the rental path, because obviously that's going to save you $7,000 a month. And I would just do that until the owner gets a more realistic vision of what the value of that building is, because it's not $3 million. I'd also expect the artificial turf market to be pretty volatile. It seems like a fairly discretionary purchase to me. It's something that you don't have to do. It's going to depend on the new construction cycle. It's probably a lot of people are putting it on new builds rather than adding it to existing. For the people that are adding it to something that's already in place, whether it's a house or a sports stadium or whatever, it's going to be a highly discretionary purchase. And then I also think the demand is going to be tied a lot to the drought cycle in California. When you're experiencing a lot of drought conditions, I'm sure the demand for this is through the roof. When you're not running into issues with the drought and lack of water, demand is probably pretty low. So this one looks tempting because the cash flow is really big. You're going to take home a lot of money if you can get this deal done. But I think the cash flow is going to be volatile, and I just don't think there's enough infrastructure in place to justify this price.